My name is Jon Acuff, and I write a blog called stuffchristianslike.net, and I wrote a book called Stuff Christians Like. And the goal of both of those is to clear away the clutter of Christianity so that we can see the beauty of Christ. And the way that I do that, or the way that I try to do that, is with satire. So I write about some of the funny things we do within church, or some of the funny things that pop culture tells us. Things like thinking you can fix yourself, because that's certainly a message that pop culture gives us, especially in movies and in music. Like one of my favorite scenes in the movie Jerry Maguire is when Tom Cruise runs in at the end. And he's always running in every film he's in. He's got that glisten, that Tom Cruise sweat. And he runs into the room and he sees his girlfriend. He says, "You complete me." And that is adorable. I mean, it's a lie. It's not true at all. No girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife is going to complete you. You want to wreck your marriage in 10 years from now? As you walk down the aisle, tell your wife, "Baby, if you could just fill every need I have in my life, every hole I have in my soul, by like Thursday, that would be great. Thanks." Let me know how that goes. I mean, I love my wife. We've been married for 10 years. She's amazing, but she didn't fix me. She's not my savior. That role was already filled. That position was already taken. But sometimes culture tells us that's possible. And they do that in music too. Like Coldplay's song, "I Will Fix You." Again, beautiful song. Not so true. Chris Martin's an amazing songwriter, but he's not going to be able to fix you. I've seen him. He's like 88 pounds soaking wet. He's always walking on the beach in hoodies in the rain. He's very sad. He's not going to fix you. But that's what culture tells us. And sometimes church adds to that conversation and that expectation, especially when you get around people who confess safe sins. Have you ever been in a small group or Sunday school class or situation where that's happened? Where somebody says, "Tonight, I gotta be honest. I gotta be raw and authentic and transparent." Words we love. And you lean in and think, what are they gonna confess? What's he about to say? And he takes a big breath and he says, "I haven't been reading the Bible every day." Oh, sinner. Disgusting. There's like a film on me just being near you. And the guy next to him catches the safe sin virus and he says, "Yeah, I got to get something off my chest too. Don't know how to say this. I haven't been journaling in the morning during my quiet time." Not journaling, two of you in the same room. I can barely contain myself. And I once heard a pastor say, "Yeah, because Jesus journaled so much in the New Testament, didn't he?" Two favorite things Jesus did in the Bible: walk on water and journal. He'd get a cup of coffee, a big mug of coffee, sit by the Sea of Galilee, get a notebook, maybe a moleskin, and just journal. Oh, he was a journaler. But you hear those things? The "I don't read my Bible enough" or "I don't journal every day" guy. And if you've got a big neon Christian sin, you can't follow that. You can't follow that story. Like for me, if I was in the 9th grade and I was in that Bible study or that small group, here's what that would have looked like. Okay, so what happened when I was in the 9th grade? Okay, so I lived in Massachusetts. And what did I do this weekend? You didn't read your Bible. What did I do? Oh, that's right, it was snowing. So I told my parents, the pastor and the pastor's wife, that I was going to go sledding, but instead I went to the dump and I dug through a 200-foot tall pile of trash looking for porn. And I also broke into some bulldozers looking for porn too. But back to Bible guy. We should pray for him, or journal guy. We would really lift him up. You can't be porn guy after Bible guy. You can't follow the guy who says, "I don't read my Bible enough" with "I looked at so much porn this weekend." So what do? You force it down. You start to hide. You start to use the Christian F word. Fine. Hey, how's school going? Fine. How's youth group? Fine. How are your classes? Fine, fine, fine. And you start to think you need to fix it. That you can't trust God, that you can't trust the church, that you can't trust your friends, and maybe you just need to fix it. That's on you. And we come from a long history of people trying to fix things, don't we? What's the first thing Adam and Eve do in the garden when they realize things have been ruined? They try to fix it. They hide and they make clothes out of leaves, as if maybe God wouldn't notice. Like he'd walk into the cool of the garden and go, "Something's different about you right now. What? I can't put my finger on it. Oh, this? Yeah, this is something we put together. Fig is the new naked. Naked felt very 2000 and late, so I just whipped it together." But that's what we do. We try to fix things. And I had that happen to me once when I was in the 2nd grade, and I haven't been able to forget this moment. And I promise you, at that moment, I didn't say, one day I'll preach about this. I wasn't this weird 8-year-old that said, I see sermons. But I had a moment happen to me, and I haven't been able to shake it, and it happened at Chuck E. Cheese. Now, I don't know if you've been to Chuck E. Cheese lately, but back in the day, Chuck E. Cheese was the jam. Lately, they've added this maze to the ceiling that as a dad is terrifying because your 3-year-old enters it and you have no way to physically get up into it. So you just kind of pace about on the floor, bumping into tables of people having pizza going, is that her? Which shadow is her? Do they have a vacuum, like some sort of suction device to get her out? And that's Chuck E. Cheese now. But when I was a kid, it was great. For one thing, they had skee ball. I don't know if you've ever played skee ball, but it's an amazing game. I thought it would be kind of fun now to maybe get some shirts made, like a bowling league night, and go to a skee ball league night. Just every Tuesday night, show up, get some tokens, say, pardon me, man, pardon me, kids, it's a league night. That'd either be really awesome or really creepy. But looking back on skee ball as a dad, it's not the safest game. Because essentially what you do is say, come here, 4-year-old, come here. I want to give you this 8-pound solid wooden ball. Any other day of the year, you touch an object like this, you're getting in trouble. Today, I'm going to give it to you, and my only expectation is that you whip it. Just throw it as hard as you can, and don't worry, it'll be fine. We've got a 4-inch net on either side. What could possibly go wrong? Here's some sugar. So maybe skee ball is not the best thing, but what was the condiment line. They had this ice cream and hot dog fixing line that stretched for like a 2nd grade mile. It was majestic. And I don't know about your childhood, but growing up, I didn't have a whole lot of direct access to sprinkles. You know, very rarely would my parents say, hey, John, come here. Here's a big bowl of sprinkles. You do whatever the little man inside wants. Because they knew what the little man inside wanted was sprinkles. But on Chuck E. Cheese Day, sprinkle destiny was in my hands. I controlled sprinkle distribution. So it was with great glee that I would bring my bowl of ice cream up to that condiment line. And I was there one day on a Saturday at a birthday party. And I was in the 2nd grade, and there was a 5th grader next to me from another party. I didn't know him, but he was the first in line. And he brought his bowl of white, soft-serve vanilla ice cream up to that first dispenser. And he pressed down as hard as he could, and out came mustard. He was at the wrong end of the line. He was at the hot dog end of the line. Epic fail. But it was okay because right away a Chuck E. Cheese employee came over and said, hey, here you go. Here's a new bowl of ice cream. And I'll never forget his face because he looked down at his bowl and he was so ashamed at having messed it up. He was so embarrassed at having failed. They looked down at the bowl and then looked up at the employee and he said, no, it's okay. I'll just stir it in. And then he started to stir with that little 5th grade arm, as if maybe if he stirred hard enough, he wouldn't taste the mustard. But you know that's impossible. Mustard's not a shy condiment. Mustard kicks the door down and says, boom, a mustard. You know mustard's coming. But he kept stirring, and he kept stirring. And what was bright yellow mustard and bright white ice cream became this pale, depressing mush. It was like a bowl of Counting Crows songs. It was very sad. And then he walked back to his table, presumably to choke down some mustard-flavored ice cream. Now, I don't know about your life, but I've put worse things in my bowl than mustard. I've made some big mistakes. I've got like D batteries and motor oil and a dead bird in my bowl. And for the longest time, I thought faith and Christianity and God and church were just a different set of tools to stir with, but it was still on me. Prayer, fellowship, community, Bible, stir, 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 stir. But about 6 years ago, I came to a place where some consequences of some decisions I had made caught up with me. And I just couldn't fix me with me. And when I brought my broken bowl, which I was exhausted from stirring, it's so hard to stir it. When I brought that bowl to Jesus, I learned a secret. And it shouldn't have felt like a secret. I grew up in the church, my dad's a pastor, but it was a secret. You want to know what it is? Lean in. Jesus came for the broken bowls. That's who he came for. I knew he wasn't here for the perfect people. I knew it was impossible to be perfect, but I always felt like maybe the good people got to ride on the inside of the bus to heaven, and I had to kind of cling to the outside on the ride there. And it probably says something about my understanding of faith that I believe heaven involves a public bus ride. Have you ever been on a public bus and thought, this is a lot like how heaven's going to be? Or sat on a Greyhound and thought, so we use the bathroom 3 feet from where I sit. That is heavenly. So I probably need to unpack that with my counselor, but that's what I thought. But the more I read the Bible, the more I really bumped into this guy named Jesus, it became impossible to think that. Over and over he says in the New Testament, It's not the healthy who need a doctor. It's the sick. I didn't come to call the righteous, I came to call the sinners. He's here for the broken bowls. And knowing that, realizing that, changed my broken bowl from something to hide and be ashamed of into a lighthouse that was sending out a signal for a doctor looking for me, into a neon sign that said, I need you, I can't do this, I need you. And that changed my life. And if I could leave you with one thing, if I could boil down the whole gospel, if I could boil down the New Testament into 4 words and give you 4 words that'll help you as you try to fix things, here's what I would say. Be sick, be loved. Be sick, be loved. Be sick, come with the broken bowl. Don't try to fix it first. Don't try to clean it up or make it work. Just come, bring it to a God who came for the broken bowls. And in that moment, you're going to be loved. And it won't make sense. It can't make sense. We get something we don't deserve, something we didn't earn, something we can't control. We get grace. And God is going to change your life in radical, beautiful ways. And you're going to be loved. So that's my hope. That's my hope for you. That's my hope for me. That we will be sick and be loved. Be sick, be loved. Be sick, be loved.